So I tried to take more of a meta stance on this, Krystal, because what I realized is I'm like, yeah, the press is trying to make this about Ron DeSantis doesn't want to answer tough questions. Newsflash, no politician wants to answer tough questions.
Yeah.
It's like, this is about the internet. The fact that he doesn't have to if he doesn't want to.
Well,
and that's more interesting.
Yes, and bringing up Biden is an interesting point as well because, he also doesn't want to get asked.
Why would he do that?
And so he's not going to sit with, some of the mainstream, like Jonathan Swan, I mean, he is an aggressive journalist.
Right.
So I understand why the White House is like, no, we're not doing a one-on-one interview with you because it's not safe. We do not trust this guy to be able to handle himself in such a circumstance. I can think of literally one, there are probably more, but I can literally think of one sitting elected representative who was willing to sit for tough questioning interviews, and that is Ro Khanna.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, today.
Two,
Bernie
Sanders.
Yeah, he went on Fox
News.
That's right.
I mean,
Buttigieg also went on Fox.
He went on, here with me. I asked him difficult questions, pushed him from the left on those things as well. So there are a handful that see the benefit of not just, and I think the point is you have to care not just about your own immediate election prospects. You have to actually care about the message and the ideas that you're pushing and that you want to get in front of audiences that don't already agree with you to try to make the case and try to persuade them that there is something to what you're arguing. But I mean, in a way, you and I do this every day because, obviously we really trust each other and we have a tremendous amount of good faith and goodwill, but we have disagreements. We have an ideological diverse audience. We come on expecting that our ideas are going to be challenged. It would be easier if we were just sitting here next to someone who was just going to amen us and you're 100% right and never disagree and never object. So that's where they're ultimately coming from. I do think that this new trend on both sides of the aisle to only sit with people who aren't going to challenge them, I do think it is a loss for democracy because even though, yes, you can pick up whatever crazy thing Trump says to Breitbart or to Bannon in the War Room or whatever, obviously he's not going to be pushed. And so you get a different set of responses than if he was really required to be responsive to the American people and sit for adversarial interviews. But without having some sort of legislation or constitutional amendment to demand that of our public officials, the only accountability is for voters to reward those rare politicians who are willing to be challenged and to go in front of ideologically diverse audiences.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is a good thing, but I'm like, this is just how it's going to be. There's no other way around it, which is in the age of the internet, everything is available to everyone. Think about this. Barack Obama used to sit down for interviews with Bill O'Reilly on Fox. That's just not going to happen anymore. He would never do that today.
No.
And he doesn't need to, right? Why did he do it? Why? Because the Super Bowl was airing on Fox, and there was this tradition that, you get the Super Bowl interview. Trump didn't do that because nobody cares anymore. And Biden sure as hell isn't going to do it either.
Obama was also supremely confident in his ability to handle anything that was
But George W. Bush, right? He would sit down for interviews with NBC. He had to. Tim Russert, all these people. The internet wasn't really, it was around, but not even in the same way. The fact is that 2016 onwards, when you have the internet, you don't really need the traditional media. And if the Post wants to cover you bad enough, they'll just blurb it. They'll write an article, they'll listen to your podcast interview, and you can say screw you, and they'll still write about you if you're newsworthy enough. So we're just entering a whole new age. And what the mainstream media misses is that this is not about them. It's not about the GOP. It's this is about the internet and the new world that we live in, and they just have to grasp that. But they won't. So
the last thing that I think is interesting dynamic here that's not exactly parallel is right-wing electeds feel very comfortable sitting for interviews on right-wing podcasts. Lefty electeds do not.
Yeah, well, they have MSNBC. They don't care.
They feel more comfortable with the mainstream press because they know if they sit with left-wing podcast hosts, they are likely to get pressed from the left on some of the ways that they failed to live up to what they said on when they were on the campaign trail before they were in office, and put them in an uncomfortable position. So there is an asymmetry there in terms of on the right, they're very comfortable in the right-wing podcast world, and I guess don't feel like they're going to be challenged in a way that's uncomfortable. And on the left, they are much more comfortable in the mainstream media spaces.
I think you're right.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.